Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the ships of Naval Action. Today we're gonna take a look at this lovely vessel, the HMS Bellona, or just the Bellona in game. So, the Bellona. What was the Bellona? The Bellona was a 74-gun third-rate ship of the line of the Royal Navy. She was built by and for the Royal Navy by a certain Sir Thomas Slade. Now if you're a historian or you're interested in the Age of Sail, it might be a familiar ship. Or, not a familiar ship, a familiar name. Sir Thomas Slade also famously designed the HMS Victory. So, 74, or the Bellona, was a kind of a prototype for 74, which in the latter half of the 18th century, was very famous with the French, the British, the Dutch, everyone building 74s. And the Bellona was one of the first ones in this trend, let's say. So she was very successful, let's say that. She wasn't repeated precisely, she is the only ship of her class. However, Slade experimented a bit, and there were the Arrogant, Remley, Egmont and Elizabeth classes which were similar to her, but there was some variation to try and improve of her. So as a result of this, there's apparently over 40 ships which were near sisters, so not exact sisters, but close enough. The HMS Bellona is also not a young ship. She was built or launched in 1760. Similar age period as the HMS Victory as well, which makes it a quite aged ship of the line. And she saw service in the 7 Years' War, the American Revolutionary War, and finally the Napoleonic War. During the 7-Year War, she was going to join a blockading squadron that was blockading Brest. And after her blockade, or rather during, she was detached to patrol off of the Tagus River in Spain. And while she was sailing there with another escort ship, the Brilliant, she sighted the French 74-gun ship Courageeux, and which was in company with 2 frigates. And the British, of course, being the British, they went for it, they went for action. And after a long run of 14 hours, they fought at the Battle of Cape Finisterre. And the Bellona fought the Courageeux alone, and the Courageeux struck her colors to Bellona. And the Courageeux was repaired, taken into the British, or the Royal Navy rather. And in 1762, the Bellona was paid off, which means essentially being put into reserve, not going to be used again for a while. But 1780, she saw action, and she captured a Dutch ship, which of course as a Dutch is disappointing to me, the Princess Carolina. And she, a bit later, the year later, saw action in the American Revolutionary War, where not too much happened. However, of interesting note is that she was one of the first British ships to be coppered, which was the process of putting copper plating on the bottom of the hull to avoid biological growths. It wasn't for protection, it wasn't thick enough sheets for that or anything, but copper, it's an antibiotic, I believe. Or at least it makes it hard for like seashells and whatever else to grow on the bottom of the ship, so that would long term increase the speed. Of course, following the American Revolutionary War, Bellona was paid off again, and there was almost war breaking out in 1789 with Russia, but it didn't happen. So she was, of course, paid off again. The next notable thing that Bellona would take part of, the proper notable, she took part in some capturing of a couple of frigates and some stuff like that. But the most notable thing she would do was in 1801 with Nelson as commander of the fleet, not of the Bellona in particular. She would take part in the Battle of Copenhagen or Copenhagen, or however you want to pronounce it. Where she did the brave thing of running aground. Yeah, she didn't do much. And, well, she continued service until 1814 when she was paid off, broken down, having spent over 50 years afloat. So that is a long service record. She didn't take part in, as far as I'm aware, any big fleet battles successfully. Like, she took part in one, that being the Battle of Copenhagen. So the Bellona, she didn't really take any part in any big fleet battles or anything like that, but she did have a long service life with the Royal Navy, which is of course always good to see. So in naval action though, let's quickly cover her in naval action. She is one of a few third rates, not as many 74s though. I believe there's 4 ships rated as 74s in naval action. You have the Redoutable, the Implacable, the third rate, just called the third rate, very creative, and of course the Bellona. So the Bellona, 1760 design, she is in the middle of the range for when ships from naval action came out, that being 1720 to 1820 for simplicity's sake. The Bellona in naval action though, if I don't remember, I'll post a picture above, not above, in the video, of the Bellona I have in specific. She is a solid ship. She is, I've sailed her a lot in my time, of course, having her being the first 74 in naval action. And she is a solid ship. 74 guns, you can mount 32 pounders carronades on her weather deck, which I have equipped, or 42 pounders. Don't quite remember. She has 24 pounders on her middle gun deck. I've got 24 pounder longs mounted, and 32 pounder on her bottom gun deck. And I've got 32 pounders mounted, longs as well. So historically, she was, I believe it was 9 pounders on the weather deck, 18 pounders on the middle gun deck, and 32 pounders on her bottom gun deck. So in naval action, she is more heavily armed than in history. But that's just how it is, I guess. I believe in the past she had her historical loadout, but that has changed apparently. But having 32 pounders and 24 pounders, that does give her a solid armament. The weather deck, if you put cannons there, I'm gonna be honest, I think that is a bit of a waste. Most ships of the line, I'll put carronades on the weather deck just because to being in that high power, close range firepower. Because long range, you're not gonna do any damage with 12 pounders anyways. So that's what I do with my Bellona. And she is a great ship. She isn't... I don't feel like she excels in any point. She feels like a ship, if you get what I'm saying. She's a solid ship. I enjoy her. And this is from the perspective of PvE, of course. I don't play PvP anymore. So for opinions on the PvP ship, go elsewhere. But she is a solid ship. There are, however, other third rates that I'd rather have, like all of them. Like, she is a solid ship, but she isn't amazing. She has decent speed, she has decent turns, she has good firepower, but there are ships that, in third rate ships, that beat her in basically every point you have. For example, the Implacable or the Admiral de Ruyter, which all have better firepower. Or you have the Vasa, which is a smaller, more agile, faster ship, I believe. Might be wrong there. So, the Bellona, she is a great all-rounder ship, which, of course, historically, 74s were all-rounder ships. They were the workforce of the Royal Navy. But here, the Bellona, she feels like an all-rounder ship. I personally don't use her a lot. There are other ships I enjoy sailing more than her. But she isn't a bad ship. So, I think that basically covers the HMS Bellona. I do hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all of that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!